Welcome to our tutorial on setting up and recording for MIDI. In this tutorial, we'll be setting up for recording from an external MIDI instrument like a keyboard. We're going to cover how to record from VSTIs, virtual instruments, later in this course. First of all, be sure you've got your MIDI interface and device connected, powered on, and that you follow the steps listed in our previous lessons on MIDI hardware setup and configuring Cubase for MIDI. Cubase should also be able to see your MIDI interface under Devices, Setup. Here's my MIDI interface. Let's close this window. You should also have audio cables connecting your MIDI instrument and your audio interface. First, let's tell Cubase about your external instrument. Select Devices, then MIDI Device Manager. The MIDI Device Manager window opens. Now click Install Device. The Add MIDI Device window opens with a list of external devices. Scroll down and select the name of your device. I'm going to add my Korg Triton. I do see it down here. If you don't see your device, you can select Define New from the top and follow the instructions there. Let's go down and get a Korg. Triton now appears in my list of installed devices. Now let's add a MIDI output to my Triton. This will let Cubase send a signal to my keyboard so that it can provide the playback for recorded MIDI data. Select MIDI Out from the Output pop-up menu. When you add your instrument, you're able to select patches from it right in Cubase. And let's close the MIDI Device Manager window. Now we'll need to set up inputs for our instrument. Let's go to Devices, VST Connections. Shortcut key is F4 for that. We select the External Instruments tab and click Add External Instrument. Type the name of your instrument. We want the audio return for the MIDI signal to be in stereo, and one return is all we need. Let's click Associate MIDI Device and select from the list of installed devices. Click OK. Now let's select the correct inputs and outputs in the Audio Device and Device Port column for our new external instrument bus. And let's close the VST Connections window. Our next step is to add an instrument track. Right-click, Add Instrument Track. For the instrument, let's choose my Triton. We'll leave the count at 1 and click OK. Our new instrument track is called Triton 01 by default. See the icon that lets you quickly distinguish at a glance what type of track this is? It's different than the audio track icon. I'm going to redo my strings on this instrument track, so I'm going to name it Strings. Now let's activate the Record, Enable, and Monitor buttons. We'll press a few keys to test. The MIDI activity indicators on the transport panel light up. I do hear my Triton playing through Cubase. That's the audio signal I saw here next to the track. Let's look at our inputs and outputs. We have all MIDI inputs selected as the input signal and the Triton selected as my output. We can choose a sound bank right from Cubase. Let's try that. I'm going to choose the bank that I recorded previously, G50 slow strings. Now, if you don't see the sound that you want on Cubase, just select it on your device. We are now monitoring and playing our external instrument, and we're ready to record some MIDI. This concludes our tutorial on setting up for recording MIDI from an external instrument.